Welcome to the O'Neil Show.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to another Drive Time review, with O'Neil TV. Okay, so I want to tell y'all, Amber fans, something. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I'm gonna say that again. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. What does that mean, O'Neil? What are you talking about? What do you mean heavy is the head that wears the crown? Okay, we give Amber a lot of praise, and we say most of the times that Amber is nothing like the other girls. If that is what we are saying, then it means that we must see the distinction between Amber and everyone else. You hear that? Most of the distinction. That means that we can't say Amber is able to run wild. Okay? She must run wild all over the place during her marriage. And that is okay. But if Anthony go talk to some girl, or if him tell, for example, Deli said that she pretty, he is the devil. And him are the worst guy in the world, and you can't trust him, and whatever else it is, and all the other things that we're talking about. That is what is causing a bit of disconnect between the Amber side of the audience and the other side of the audience. Because I feel like you have two fans right now in Skitland. You have two set of fans. You have Amber fans and you have the other set of audience in Skitland. Right? Because Anthony don't have as much fans, I think, as how Amber has the fans. And Amber has a lot of women fans, she have a lot of female fans. The men them like her because, of course, hey, if you can get some pum pum and should give it to you, sure, you take it. But in the grand scheme of things, I think majority of her fans are female. So let's start right there. So that's one of the first things I feel like we need to go at first. Because I feel like every single time I come on now, there is this pushback when it comes to Amber. And I don't mind the pushback at all. So this morning, right, Amber decided that, she says she's basically going out. She's going out, but she still was able to give Anthony a kiss and a hug. Now, eventually, some person will say, well, if you look at the end of the video, O'Neil, she rub off the kiss. But that don't make sense either. if what you're telling me is that she is done, because this is what I've been hearing from all the ladies them. If you're saying that she's done and she's over it and all of that, then why are you pretending? There should be no pretense. When someone is done, there's no pretending, You can't kiss a woman who is actually done, to what I know. Unless y'all ladies want to tell me that, O'Neil, you're wrong again. And I don't mind being wrong, because O'Neil don't mind at all. He'll give you a perspective, make you a very objective view. But I don't mind being wrong. I would have refused the kiss. That's what me saying. I would have refused that kiss by Anthony this morning if that was the case. Pause. Because of course we don't want to get it twisted. We don't love man. We're just basically explaining what's going on. So I would have expected her to refuse that kiss, but she never refused it. Wiping it off after the fact tells me nothing. Because then you're basically pretending and making it seem again like everything is okay. But of course, she did that because of the same guilt. So we're back to the guilt again. And this is what I'm talking about when I say that Amber needs to finish what she's in now before she moves to the next thing with Dave. Because in case y'all don't realize, Amber is going through the same motion she went through with Koontry Wayne. Same motion. She should have cut it off with Koontry Wayne first, then move on to Anthony. She never did that. She never did that. She should have cut it off first with Koontry Wayne, then move on with Anthony. She didn't do that. And now we have the same thing, where she should cut it off first with Anthony, then move on to Dave. But we're seeing the same thing. And instead of Amber fans calling it out, what we get is a praising and a celebration of all of it. And that is what the audience is calling out. In other words, do you see that Amber is manufacturing these issues as time comes by? That was something that I also said. She'll manufacture them, she'll create them. For no reason at all, because again, Dave can't wait. And by the way, I love the whole dear friend tell him that he's a married woman, because that's true. Just like I was telling some of the audiences today that Dave basically is testing the waters because Dave want to know how far this woman can actually go for me. And I try to give a very a manly perspective, but sometimes I do that, you know, the ladies then get upset. And then I can't help you because they get upset. You know, I try to give you the stark truth, but I guess that, you know, that not really work. Women say, why you don't tell the truth? But when men tell the truth, it's like, well, you don't want to listen. You don't want to listen. I told you what Dave's motives were. Me give you an inkling into how Dave is thinking, into the mind of a man. So when you see Dave reacting, how I'm reacting, when you see him doing certain pieces and how it working, then I try to say I'm gonna put on my ladies man hat and I say, well, if you look for Melissa, you can tell that either one of two things. Either Dave has touched the pum pum, or she really and truly loves Dave. And she getting upset right now that, you know, Amber is getting chosen over her because that's really and truly what's taking place. And I don't know if this is like a deep-seated issue either, where, again, remember, you know, Daniel is married and she's not married. So maybe this is coming from a long period of time of her not being chosen. That is also something to get into. But I don't want to deflect too much. I just want to say to the Amber fans, remember, heavy is the head that wears the crown. So the Amber is going to get a lot of scrutiny because we are trying to say that she's set apart from the rest of John Public. And if that is what you're saying, then she has to show that. Because if she can't show that, people looking for receipts, you know. People want to see the receipts to show us that she's better than John Public. Because if you can't show the receipts them that she's better than John Public, then you're going to have the consistent what you call rebuttals, because that's what you're having. People are rebutting. People start refuting the point. Them know about O'Neal. Well, how come you have this? Well, O'Neal, how come you have that? That's what you have happening. That's what you have going on right there, sir. But of course, Amber fans are like that, you know. Y'all want her to run wild. So if she run wild, then she basically just Amber tie. And we know Amber tie, you know. And that's why I keep asking, which Amber is Amber becoming? Me keep asking the question because I'm trying to get the audience to think. To not forget who Amber tie was before this whole marriage. Because the only Amber this set of audience know right now, well, that's what it presents. The only Amber people know is the Amber that is with Anthony, and the Amber that Anthony has been cheating on. Nobody don't remember the Amber who was taking mic and playing the game around with the Rolanda thing and was doing all sorts of different things and was out here playing games before she get married. Nobody don't remember that. People want to forget that. They want to push that under the rug. What me know, hey, listen to me. I know, you know, I know some people have gotten upset with O'Neal, and I understand, hey, me have a duty to call it as fair as possible. If I'm going to critique it, I'm going to critique it very fairly. You know? So people say, but O'Neal, Anthony should have done the things on for her birthday. He should have. But O'Neal, Anthony is not even making any moves like he wants, or he's not. But O'Neal, Anthony is still a cornball. He is. I have not denied any part of that. That's why him get the call out. That's why when you call him out, nobody really run into it. When you call him out, no one gets into it when y'all are calling him out. The men on my channel, in fact, Malcolm, Monila, George, Christopher, many of the other men named from my channel has been talking about Anthony the cornball for ages right now. Ages. So it's not like Anthony hasn't gotten the critique. And why people don't even bother with Anthony is because they don't set him at a high standard. So him not going to get as much judgment because they already see what they're seeing. They don't need no more from him. But I guess the question I have to ask is there a bias? Is there a bias between the man and the woman? That maybe is the question we need to start asking. Is there a bias? Is it because Anthony is the one that cheated inside of the marriage? Is that why, which is the man, is that why the women are so nonchalant for Amber right now? Now that, you know, the Dave thing come into play? Is that why? That is the question I'm asking. Many questions perhaps, but hey. Look here, I love discussing the skits with the audience because I feel like the audience, one of the things I love about my audience is that y'all have different perspectives at different points in time. And I love that. It's like even the statement with Charmaine and that Charmaine came up last night with, you know what I mean? And Charmaine says, well, O'Neal, I think, you know, maybe it is that Melissa want Amber for herself. And I said, well, I didn't see that, but you know what? It's an interesting perspective. Could it have happened? Yes. No, we have image to the contrary to say that that's not what's going on, but it could have happened. It's far-fetched. Looking at what we're looking at right now, it's not far-fetched. We realize now that all of it is plausible. All of it is extremely plausible. It's there. It is all there for us to see. But hey, it is what it is at this point. You know, listen, I understand. Me get it. You know, me get it. What I'm getting from Amber fans is that, you know, Amber fans are upset that they're upset that their girl does not look right. And because she don't look right, it bothers the Amber fans. So what the Amber fans will do is that they will basically try to pinpoint us to some other thing that's happening in the skits them outside of where Amber is. I think that that's what's going on. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I don't want to forget that. So Amber is getting the flack that she's getting because people is saying, hey, if you are the standard, then you need to be the standard. If you are the standard for women, or if you are the standard that they want to see a woman acting in a rightful and an upright manner, then you need to present to be that standard. That's all people is saying. If you can't manage the heat, then you have to stay out of the kitchen. So maybe what we should start saying then, Amber fans, is that we should start saying, you know what? Amber is not as perfect as we thought. So basically, she and Anthony are just the same thing. You're getting the flack because people is saying, hey, them seen one thing with Anthony and we're calling out that thing with Anthony. But when we see the same thing with Amber, we're basically sugarcoating it. That is exactly what the next side of the audience is calling out. But you know what? I'm not going to make this long, you know. I'm on the move. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I'm going to talk to y'all.